Everyone has heard the tale of Lewis and Clark. These two adventurers, despite looking very unadventure-like, these two adventurers were responsible for exploring new land acquired by the United States. A strenuous journey that brought them from St. Louis to the northwestern Pacific coast, through rough waters, freezing winters, sickness, fatigue, and danger. And it all began with this guy, Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States. Well, actually, it began with this guy, Napoleon Bonaparte, the then leader of the newly formed French Republic. You see, Napoleon had recently, in 1800, reacquired all this land from Spain in the middle of North America. He dreamt of turning it into a new France and creating a great global empire. Unfortunately, there are a few hiccups in his plan. First off was the fact that there was another war with the United Kingdom looming on the horizon, one that would require lots of money and all of his focus. Secondly, a revolt in French colonies in Haiti, i.e. the Haitian Revolt, had caused massive destruction to the French colonial empire, and kind of made his dream of a kingdom stretching into the Western Hemisphere too costly. So, with his ideas for a new French empire in the Western Hemisphere soured, he decided to move France's focus back to Europe and try to conquer it all, which he got pretty close to doing. Fortunately for Napoleon, in 1803 Jefferson sent over James Monroe to broker a deal in which the United States would acquire New Orleans, which Jefferson saw as an essential port for southern farmers. However, when he arrived, Napoleon offered to sell all the Louisiana territory, which was all of France's holdings in the region. Despite the Americans being prepared to pay $10 million for just New Orleans and its surrounding area, the French offered the whole territory for only $15 million. This would double the size of the United States at only 3 cents an acre, a deal Jefferson could not refuse. Jefferson then sent a secret letter to Congress to receive approval, and announced the purchase publicly on July 4, 1803. Jefferson soon realized that much of the United States was now unexplored and uncharted by the government. So, to explore, map out the region, assert American control, and find a route to the other edge of the continent, he decided to commission an expedition. For this he turned to a former colleague, Meriwether Lewis, who, along with William Clark, led the expedition. Minor goals included studying the biology, geography, and native peoples in the area. To do this, the expedition created journals, numerous drawings, and many handcrafted maps that were returned to Jefferson. Lewis and Clark set out from St. Louis with a group called the Corps of Discovery, which comprised of 40 to 50 members. Along the way, a Native American named Sacagawea joined with them as a guide and translator, and they traveled through rough rivers, continuing further west. The group experienced its only casualty when a sergeant died from disease, and they conversed with Native American tribes on the way. They kept going, building a fort to survive winter, and studying local animal and plant life. They traveled further and found buffalo that had been pushed west so far that they were very rarely ever seen east of the Mississippi. They killed some bison, and later almost killed some Native Americans after a dog was stolen from the group. Finally, after much hardship, they reached the Pacific, marking the success in traversing the continent, leaving only a similar return journey. Although the Lewis and Clark expedition is an interesting tale of hardship and adventure, much more important and much more relevant was the aftermath. Despite many stories representing a feeling of kinship between Sacagawea and Lewis and Clark, journal entries by the pair of adventurers refer to her and other Native Americans they encountered as savages. Jefferson hoped that the expedition would help form connections between the United States and the native people, and that the group could help perform linguistic and cultural studies. In fact, Lewis and Clark met with numerous different Indian tribes on their journey. They were diplomatic and almost always civil. However, despite the positive interactions between the Native Americans and the first United States officials, it really marked the end of their civilization and life as they knew it. With the Louisiana Purchase and the subsequent expedition, the doors had been opened for Americans to migrate west. At first it was peaceful, but we know that further down the road, the U.S. would come into conflict with the Native Americans on multiple different occasions. And throughout the rest of U.S. history, the natives were often displaced and mistreated. The expedition helped kickstart a wave of migration from east to west, and therefore helped create one of the most influential ideas in United States history, that of manifest destiny, a term coined by John L. O'Sullivan, that basically refers to the idea that it is not only the right, but the duty of the American people and white settlers to spread west into the rest of the continent, bringing with them their culture and society. It raised the people of the United States above those that already inhabited the western areas, meaning because of their superiority, it was the American people's destiny to expand west and redeem the untamed lands. At the heart of this way of thought was the idea of American cultural and racial superiority. This desire to expand led to many problems in the future, such as issues of slavery, as states were admitted, and tension with the Native Americans and in the South Hispanic peoples who already lived in the land. Of course, the expedition also provided information about the biology, ecology, topography, and geography of the vast western area. Many geographic features were recorded and mapped out by the expedition, thus creating a more accurate picture of the western North American continent. This would allow for easier creation of trade and migration routes. The potential for agricultural land was recorded, in other words, how easy it would be to farm, along with the minerals, the climate, and plant and animal life. Many of the discoveries made during the expedition were important to the scientific field at the time and helped advance understanding. The story itself is one that is woven into the American identity, a tale of adventure, of overcoming challenges, and of conquering unknown landscapes, a tale that can be told from a multitude of perspectives thanks to the wide array of people who participated in the expedition. It provides a glimpse into the ideas of the time and into what the United States was and how it became what it is now.